Hello, I'm Bree from Acupuncture and Eastern Healing, and I just want to do a quick little class on how to read your tongue and some things you can do to fix some of the disharmonies that may be presented in your tongue. So I'm going to present the three most common that I see. So what do you need today? You're going to need just yourself and a mirror so you can see what's going on your tongue. I also want to talk to you about how to stick out your tongue. So I think sometimes we think that the tongue is gross, and so we're like afraid to stick it out. So we'll do this you really can't read the tongue. If it's just just stick it all the way out. Also, don't stick it out like when you're a kid and don't do that because it's hard to read. Just stick out your tongue just like how your dog does, and then you can read it. So when you're looking at the tongue, and you stick it out, you notice the sides of your tongue are redder. They have red edges. So kind of like this. It'll be pink, and the sides will be redder. We call that liver chi stagnation from heat. And this comes about because you are maybe stressed. And some symptoms of that, maybe you feel tension underneath your ribs, you're bloated, you may feel pressure on your chest, tightness in your shoulders, you could be irritable, moody, depressed, quick to anger. In females, this could be a time of PMS. So that's when you may notice this in your tongue. So what do you want to do? You want to make sure if you are stressed, you are eating a nutrient-rich diet, because when you are stressed, your nutrients are depleted. There are many studies, and I'll link one below, that it does say that overall, the bulk of evidence that is out there says that stress affects the micronutrient concentration, leading to micronutrient depletion. So you can only eat so much in one day. So make sure if you're stressed, you're eating good quality food. Get your B vitamins, get your magnesium. Also, when you're PMSing, there's a book called the Tao of Nutrition. I'll see if I can find it. And Dr. Maoshing and Cathy McNease talk about that 1 week prior to the PMS symptoms that you notice, you should consume foods like ginger, green onions, fennel, orange peel, spinach, walnuts, hawthorn berries, cinnamon, black pepper, and Chinese dates, and avoid cold foods. This is anything that's raw, like your salads. Don't eat a lot of fruits, vinegar, and shellfish, coffee, stimulants, sugar, dairy products, and cut down smoking before your period. Also, for lifestyle changes, if you're really, really stressed, make sure that you're getting enough exercise. Exercise really helps to reduce your stress. You also want to make sure that you're sleeping, because you don't want to mess with your cortisol levels by not getting enough sleep. Don't stay up, like if you're a student and you stay up late or you work the night shift, it's just not good for you, and it's not good for your stress. So get regular exercise, get regular sleep, try to do things that relax you, take a bath, go for a walk, do yoga, play with your dog, whatever makes you happy. You also want to get away from the daily routine. So if you can, on the weekends, go up to the mountains and get into nature and hike or climb or do whatever you really love to do, this will help to reduce your stress, and you should be able to see it in your tongue. You should be able to see that redness going down. Of course, acupuncture can help with that as well. So the next thing that people notice when they're looking at their tongue is the tip, like down here, it's going to be red. Now, if you stick your tongue out for a long time, eventually the blood will draw to the tip and it's going to look more red. So just stick it out and just stick it out for a couple seconds. And people that have this will know right away. So the tip of your tongue is going to be red like this. So right here. So with that, you may notice that you have palpitations, increased thirst, you're going to be anxious, you're going to be nervous, maybe you have some insomnia and you're having trouble sleeping. You may feel some achiness in the chest as well with that. So what should you do if you have this and you're anxious? again, make sure that your diet's really good. Make sure it's high in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, vitamins B and E that are all depleted in stress, because anxiety is a form of stress. Cut out any stimulants. Now this is your, I know we love them, but it's your coffee, your tea, your soda, your chocolate, your energy drinks, tobacco, and sugar. And even though alcohol is not a stimulant, it affects your blood sugar, and a blood sugar drop can cause more anxiety. So if you drink at night to calm your nerves, the next day you may be more anxious. So it's a good thing to cut it all out. You also want to do things to relax you, like take a warm bath, especially with Epsom salts, because Epsom salts contain magnesium, and magnesium helps to release tension in your body. And if you're anxious, you're probably holding on like this, and so you want to relax. You also want to relax your mind, again, through that yoga, meditation, all those good things for you. You want to watch things that on TV, if you watch TV, that will make you laugh, because laughter is like the best medicine. It will help you with your anxiety and your nerves. Don't watch things that stress you out. I know it's good to be informed, but sometimes the news will stress people out, so don't watch it if you're really anxious. And make sure that you have a really good sleep routine. Don't watch TV in bed. Make sure you're going to bed every night at the same time and waking up at the same time. Also, your cell phone. I know we love our cell phones, but do not be on it at least an hour before bed. Maybe turn it off, put it in another room. I've also heard that turning your Wi-Fi off at night will help you with sleep. There was a study done in London, and I'll see if I can link it below as well, where they took 10 healthy men that were sleep deprived, and they had this cell phone, and now this was in like 2012, so the cell phones were a little bit different than now. They had a standby mode, and an off mode. Now, the researchers had these cell phones connected to a remote, and the cell phone was like on a helmet, so the participants didn't know when the cell phone was in these modes. And when the cell phone was in talk mode, for an hour after, or up to an hour, the delta brainwaves were dampened. So that, and these delta brainwaves, they're responsible for your deep sleep. So these participants couldn't sleep for an hour after their cell phone was turned off, and they weren't getting that deep sleep that they needed. So it's really important not to be on your cell phone right before bed. It'll help you sleep. Okay, so the next thing that a lot of people have is what we call a scalloped tongue. So when you stick out your tongue like this, you'll see little teeth marks on your tongue, and it'll kind of look like, I have it upside down, oops. So there's going to be like little edges where your teeth will go, these little teeth marks. So what does that indicate in Chinese medicine? That means your digestion probably isn't working the way it should be. You may notice that you're bloated, you're just fatigued, you're lethargic, your body feels heavy, you don't want to exercise. You may notice that drinking water just doesn't sound good to you. You may not be hungry until in the afternoon. You may not want to eat breakfast. You may worry a lot. You may notice that you bruise pretty easily. These are all symptoms of the digestion not working well. So what do you need to do? If your digestion's not working really well, you need to be eating mostly cooked foods, because cooked foods are easier for your body to break down. So I suggest a lot of soups and stews that are easy. You can even blend your soups, so it's even easier. You can also do some smoothies. There's debate about whether the raw nutrients, because they're blended, whether that's being like cooked and whether they're already broken down so it's easier to assimilate. So play with that, but definitely do blended soups. Drink warm water or hot liquids with your meals. Avoid fast foods, processed foods, artificial sugars, carbonated drinks, greasy food, fried food. I mean, basically anything that's not natural, that's going to be really hard for your body to break down. It just isn't going to be good. When you're feeling this way, you're probably also going to be craving sugars. Sugars contribute to inflammation in the body, and they make all these symptoms worse. It's not a good idea. If you're craving sweet things, get subtly sweet things. Like rice is subtly sweet. It's not really sweet, but it's kind of like, so do a lot of grains. You also want to chew your food completely. Remember, your stomach doesn't have teeth, so you want to chew your food till it's liquid. And if you're still noticing, not to be gross, but food particles in your stools, you may need some enzymes to help you further break down these foods. Make sure that you're always eating breakfast, even though you're not craving it. A savory breakfast is good. Don't eat donuts. Like, that's not going to be good. But if you have like leftovers from dinner, or do your smoothie if you need to. Just eat some kind of breakfast in the morning. The most optimal time for the digestion is 10 a.m. So make sure that you've eaten by then. You also want to give your body a break in between eating. You don't want to just be eating constantly. So give yourself like 3 hours in between meals before you have the next one. You also want to make sure that you've eaten at least 2 hours before bed, because your body needs that time to digest your food. And if your food's still digesting, you're just not going to sleep as well. This can also happen when patients have some kind of allergy, like if maybe they're just slightly intolerant to gluten or just slightly intolerant to dairy, and it's going to irritate the gut and it's just not going to work as well. So kind of play with your diet, cut out some known allergens, and the known allergens are like corn, soy, gluten, dairy, nuts, legumes. Try cutting those out. There's a lot of, look online, Google it, and they're antihistamine diets. And by cutting out those foods, and see if you feel better, see if your digestion works better, because sometimes that's a problem for people. Also, in Chinese medicine, the digestion gets worse with worrying, and you'll notice this with a knee study too, and I'll link one below. Stress can make your body just halt its digestion process. It's like we're in fight and flight, and we're just not going to digest because we have to send all the blood that was going to our stomach elsewhere, because we have to be ready for whatever's coming. So you really want to get a handle on this worrying and stress if you're worried about your digestion. A good way to do that is a gratitude journal. Think of 3 things that you're really grateful for, instead of, before you go to bed, instead of worrying about everything that could go wrong the next day. Think about everything that went right the day and everything that you're really grateful for. Try to change your thinking patterns. And if you notice yourself doing that during the day, like, oh, I am worried I'm not going to do well in this presentation, or whatever it is, think of 3 positive things to replace that negative thinking, to kind of train your brain not to be so worried all the time that, yes, it's going to be okay, you don't need to worry. There's nothing you can do about most of the stuff anyway, so there's no point in worrying. Practice meditating, do hypnosis, do anything that you can to kind of just calm your brain. And that should really help with your digestion. So if you have any questions, please ask me down below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I hope to be doing more in the future. I want to get to tongue coating and little spots, and there's a whole bunch of other things I want to talk about, but these are the top 3. Thank you, and let me know what you think.